folks, and welcome to the Cleveland School as we have Norwood Softball taking on Ashland Softball. I'm Joe Pinola along with Matt Lane. Matt, a pleasure getting to do a softball game with you. I know we got you out here last year and excited to have you out here again.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much to NCM for the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to the game.
Should be a pretty good one. Norwood is in the midst of a marathon on their schedule. They play 8 games in 10 days. They played earlier this week against Holliston and against Medfield. They play again tomorrow. They play again Saturday. They play Monday. They play Tuesday. So if you're this Norwood softball team, you got to be ready to go. Not a whole lot of practice in between, and the weekend is not necessarily, I guess, the off time that it usually is.
Yeah, and I think the advantage too of having that many games in a short period of time is that you maybe can mix the lineup up a little bit, get some people in there, and if someone gets hot, they have an opportunity to stay hot the next day, maybe the day after. So should be a good one.
So I imagine, yeah, like you were saying, Matt, a chance to kind of roll over the lineup, get some different players, some opportunities. Head coach Caitlin Nodebart, who is in her second season at the helm for Norwood, has a bit of a remade lineup for her team today. She's got Sarah Randall, who is on the mound, wearing number 33, and Cece Indek, who was the backup catcher last season, will do the catching for her, giving Lily Cordani a bit of a rest.
Excellent, and here we go.
And underway we go, and the first pitch is downstairs for a ball. A little bit tough from our angle, but we'll do our best for the balls and strikes. Matt's got his clicker ready as well.
If you hear that sound, it's a clicker, courtesy of Kevin Connolly.
So you are the right field umpire in today's game, I guess we can say, huh? This one downstairs from Randall as well. Nico Eustaris is the shortstop and the leadoff hitter for the Ashland Clockers today, and head coach Matt Madsen.
Yeah, and Nico is a freshman, so it looks like got a pretty young lineup there.
2-1 now on Nico, and that's quite a responsibility. Leading off, playing shortstop. We know a lot of times you see some really good athletes playing the position. For Norwood, I believe they've got Lizzie Helmar, who's one of their senior captains, and a great kid who I have the pleasure of having in class playing that spot.
Excellent.
This one fouled off the foot there, so it's 2-2. And Randall, after missing on the first two, now starting to settle into a little bit of a rhythm here.
Yeah, the weather, everything seems good. It's nice. It's not too hot.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a beautiful day for it. Pitch coming, and it's grounded, a little bit foul, so staying alive in the count is Eustaris. She'll be followed by Rebecca Krinsman, Caroline Kyra, then Taylor Koch, then the Kazadian, I assume sisters, Adeline and Ruby, Quinn Herder, Holly Cashin, Abby Rosenfeld, and I've got to believe that based on what we were talking with the Ashland coach, that Ella Dickinson will just be playing the field today, and Ashland is batting 9. But we will, I guess, confirm that as the game goes along. So the umpire having a conversation with a couple of players there on the Norwood sideline. It looks like they have to move some equipment out of the way.
A little field work in between pitches, all good.
All right. So, hey, sometimes that's the responsibility of the coaches as well. I know you know that from the basketball sidelines, right? Sometimes you got to wear multiple hats, I guess, right?
For sure. Clean up spilled water bottles. Seen it all.
That's it. I know during lacrosse, which we've been covering a lot here on NCM, Mike Lodge, who's the old coach, always talked about setting up the field, so the coaches are responsible for doing that. There's a beautiful pitch there that finds the strike zone, and Sarah Randall starts off quite well, getting a called strike 3 to retire Eustaris.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch.
Puts it in the right spot, and that brings up Rebecca Krinsman, who is the right fielder. Rebecca wearing number 11, also batting from the right side. This one gets over for a strike, it looks like, trying to catch the umpire, just out of reach of that dugout we got here.
I was saying to Jack earlier, I think a scoreboard is needed here.
That's right. So we will do our best to keep it here, but I guess unofficial. I think there was one game a couple of years ago. I was a couple of runs short almost the entire time. But I'm glad you got the clicker, and you've got that one. That first one was a strike, so we're 0-2.
Yep.
And staying alive in the count is Krinsman. Caroline Kyra, the second baseman, is on deck. So Sarah Randall throwing strikes, which is certainly what you like to see.
For sure.
Kind of keeps the game moving along.
No balls in play yet, so fielders look ready, though.
So Randall rocks back. And this one is a drop third strike, but Indek throws it to first base. Cordani squeezes it there. And it's 2 batters and 2 strikeouts for Sarah Randall. A great start for her.
Excellent.
Randall, one of many multi-sport athletes on these Norwood rosters. Norwood seems to kind of make a habit of that as a school. I know she was also getting some meaningful minutes with girls volleyball back in the fall, so nice to see her now getting a chance on the softball field. So here is Caroline Kyra. Kyra playing second base today, wearing number 18. Taylor Koch, I believe one of their captains, wearing number 3, is on deck, or wearing number 6, excuse me. Or I may have that wrong.
Nope, you got it.
All right, there we go.
On deck captain.
All right. So Norwood has played Ashland already this year, so the two schools a little bit familiar with the softball programs. It was all Norwood in the first match back earlier, I believe, in April. Norwood came away with an 18-3 win.
Wow.
But Ashland, who, you look at you pull up the scores and all that. I was looking at it a little bit before the game. This is a team that, for the Clockers, were 0-20 last season. But they've already got 3 wins to their ledger this season, including an in-conference win against Holliston. So, although 2 of their wins have come out of conference, maybe against some schools who are kind of a little bit closer to where they're at, they've got certainly something to feel good about, as the program has already improved and they've still got 4 games left.
Yeah, that's great to hear. No one likes to go through a season
Right.
without a victory, and just the fact that they've got a few more this year, I think that's a great momentum builder, and maybe they can tack on some more, just not today.
That's it. We hope from the Norwood perspective that is not what happens. But there is a called strike 3, and what a start for Sarah Randall. 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts. Maybe getting a little bit boring if you're in the Norwood field, at least in the early going, but she's throwing strikes and cruising along so far.
Yeah, an impressive top of the first. Actually, I don't think any ball was put in play. So the fielders are probably a little antsy at this moment, but it's a good antsy, and as we see Ashland take the field.
So the Clockers will get ready to go here, and we'll do a little preview of the Norwood lineup as they get ready to face off against Ashland's pitcher. That is number 2, Holly Cashin. Saw Holly warming up a little bit before the game. Seems to have a good mix of speeds from what I was seeing. So that'll be something interesting for Norwood to contend with. The Mustangs will lead things off with number 33. That is, number 35. Couldn't read my own handwriting. Allison Grenham, a sophomore, will get to kick things off. She'll be followed by Lily Cordani. Sarah Randall, the pitcher, who not only is doing it all on the mound, but also in that very important number 3 slot. Lizzie Helmar is hitting cleanup and playing short. Pauline Cordani hitting 5th and playing first base. Cece Indek is doing the catching today, batting 6th. The very speedy Cece Becker is batting 7th in center. Jackie Powers hitting 8th. She's at second base. And Sophia Tuma is in right field, wearing number 17, and rounding things out for the Norwood roster. So a couple different names getting some opportunities, which I'm sure the starters are thankful for in this gauntlet of a schedule that Norwood's going through.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for some players who might not have had the innings yet to get some experience. That always bodes well, too, for the postseason. As the season goes on, sometimes, unfortunately, you have injuries and things like that, and you got to plug people in. And it helps if you've got a girl on the team that's got some experience. So that's great that they're getting the opportunity.
So Norwood excited to do just that. So we'll get our look here at Holly Cashin, who is on the mound for Ashland. Cashin, a pretty tall player, is certainly that helps on the mound, get a little bit of an extra stride here, and she'll face off against Grenham. The Grenham last name is certainly very familiar amongst baseball and softball here in Norwood. And now Allison will try to kick things off for the softball team. She takes this one way inside. Thought I might have hit her the way that was coming in for a moment.
Yeah, me too. She got her feet out of the way. Good.
So I assume that was certainly not intentional, as she maybe had a little bit closer than a brush back there. But Grenham gets out of the way, and now a little number off the end of the bat, and that will get through on the infield. Number 7, that was Adeline Kazadian, the third baseman for Ashland, was there, but couldn't quite squeeze it, as I think the ball had a little bit of a weird spin coming off the bat.
Yeah, and I'm not sure either with Grenham's speed that even if she fielded it cleanly, it made it have play at first base. So now we got a runner on first and no outs.
All right, so runner on first base, and we'll keep an eye on Grenham and see if she decides to use that speed a bit here. Lily Cordani is now doing the batting. She is Norwood's normal catcher, but getting the start today in left field, so certainly a very different perspective from her. And she laces one out to left center. That'll fall for a hit and maybe more. Grenham will make the turn and go to third base. Holding at first base with the single is Cordani, and she officially has the game's first hit as she moves Grenham over to third, and the Mustangs have runners on the corner with nobody out for Sarah Randall.
Yeah, and we got a really good look at the speed of Grenham there. She made it over to third, and there wasn't even a throw. She was already there.
No doubt about it. Her mind was made up, and her third base coach waving her all the way. So now Randall up here with a chance to help herself. Nobody out in the inning, and the Mustangs already threatening, and running on the pitch was Cordani. She'll take second base without a throw. So we'll term that the pitcher's indifference, I guess, there, Matt.
I concur.
Pitch coming, and Randall takes it a little bit high and tight here. Lizzie Helmar on deck. She is the shortstop for kind of a revamped Norwood team. They lost a couple seniors last year, and looking to see if they can get things going now in the right direction. It's a team that is 7-5 overall. They're 6-5 in conference, so they have they're kind of floating right around that 500 mark, although squarely in the MIA playoffs as it stands, because they've got some wins over some pretty quality opponents.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, Joe, I think with so many games in a short amount of time, you go on a hot streak, and then you got a real impressive record at the end of that.
Absolutely. This one, a bit of an off-speed pitch.
Sure.
And so I guess my scouting report wasn't that far off. Cashin changing speeds really well, and I think that one took Randall by surprise. A nice pitch from her. Holly Cashin is a freshman, so talk about a lot of freshmen having responsibility for Coach Madsen's team here in Ashland. Not only we mentioned the leadoff hitter in Eustaris, a freshman, now your pitcher here, traveling all the way. It's not a quick bus ride over to Norwood.
No,
and they're tasked with a lot.
Yeah, this is a tough spot. You got 2 on, nobody out, full count. But it's a challenge. She's got it within herself, and maybe we'll see one of those off-speed pitches. That was a real nice pitch.
Absolutely. That seems to be her out pitch, and she's got 2 strikes here against Randall. Seeing what she can do. Pitch coming, and Randall skies it out to short left, right into no man's land. It falls in for a base hit. Grenham will score. The throw comes to third, and Cordani is in there safely. But on at first base with a single and an RBI is Sarah Randall, and it's 1-0 Norwood.
Yeah, it just, it kind of the perfect spot there. It was a little too deep for an infielder, a little too shallow for an outfielder, and helping yourself out is always a great thing when you're on the mound.
Yeah, you kind of saw those 3 players converging for Ashland, and it looks like Coach Nodebart will get a pinch runner here coming into first base.
Yeah, it looks like number 31, Maureen Larkey, is going to run for Randall.
So Mo Larkey is on, another freshman here as the pinch runner for Norwood. Would not be surprised to see her moving here with first and third and nobody out, although you certainly don't want to take the bat out of your cleanup hitter's hand. Lizzie Helmar, the batter, has been a starter for, I believe, at least the last 3 seasons here on this Norwood varsity team. Started off playing some second base and now has slid over to shortstop, where she's been kind of the stalwart there. First left-handed batter of the game as Ashland gets their defense set up.
It's always nice to see a fellow left-hander out there.
Yeah, so you're kind of limited to certain positions as a lefty. I have to watch her again in the field because we're seeing her batting with from the left side.
Yeah, I would.
Usually you don't see too many lefty shortstops.
No, my Sunday night softball league, I had to play a little short the other day. It was not great.
That's it. Certainly get a lot of action there. Going on the pitch is Larkey, so the pinch runner, Maureen Larkey, will take second base once again on catcher's indifference. And so still nobody out in the inning. Norwood already has 1 in here in the bottom of the first. They lead 1-0, and this pitch in the dirt to Helmar as she lays off it for a ball. Pauline Cordani, I believe another captain on this Norwood roster, waits on deck. Pauline usually does a lot of pitching, but she is assigned first base duty today with Randall on the hill.
Nice block there by the catcher, but the count is 3-0 now.
So a good hitter's count here. Now, if you're Ashland and you're Coach Madsen, do you debate saying, hey, let's kind of see if she'll fish here, 3-0, first base is open, we're happy to let her have it if so? find out. Helmar is swinging. It comes right back to the mound, and this will get through for a hit for Helmar. So she hit it hard. We'll give her the base hit, as that's kind of a tough play off the mound, as Cashin initially got her glove on it, but I think it slowed it down just enough that the second baseman, Kyra, really didn't have an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's some aggressive swinging there. A 3-0 count, a lot of times you take, but there we go.
And Norwood right back at it, grounds it to short. They'll get one there. The relay throw to first base is a little bit high, and the runner is kind of hung up here. Pauline Cordani not quite sure what to do. She got the run in and hit it pretty hard. She'll get back to first base safely on the fielder's choice. So Helmar is retired at second base. Randall comes around to score the third run of the game, as we were just in the middle of telling you that Cordani had came around to score on the Helmar base hit. So the end result of all that is that Norwood is now up 3-0. We've got one out in the inning, and Pauline Cordani on first base for CC Indek.
Yeah, that was a hard hit ball too. Probably the hardest yet today.
Cordani is taking off, and she will steal second base without a throw. So Norwood now with a runner in scoring position. So another hard hit ball for Norwood, although unfortunately for Cordani, she hit it right at the Ashland shortstop Eustaris. This one also in the dirt, and the merry-go-round kind of starting up here as Cordani makes her way to third.
Yeah, not a lot of room there to the backstop, so maybe the plate of the plate, not so much, but a third base take is a smart move.
Indek takes this one on inside, so 3-0. And normally I would say, Matt, that here she's probably 3-0, looking to maybe take a walk at this point, but we saw Helmar swinging 3-0, and Indek does the same.
Swing.
Hey, be aggressive up there, right?
Yeah, that's obviously their approach today, and it's worked out so far, so I like it.
So Indek getting a chance to start here, wearing number 14. She's been a big part of this program now for a couple of years. Also plays hockey as a backup goaltender there. And she skies this one in the infield. Kazadian will glove it. And tell you, that's a really good pitch from Cashin as she gets the harmless pop out in the infield and now can breathe a little bit more with 2 away in the inning.
Yeah, definitely. No, she's shown some composure here too. I mean, probably not an ideal start for her to have everyone on with no outs, but she settled down, and that's always nice to see for a pitcher. Build your confidence a little bit.
So CC Becker now will get an opportunity. Becker, another multi-sport athlete. We saw her playing basketball, and she's going to wear this one a little bit on her shoulder as she gets drilled by the pitch. So first hit batsman of the game as Becker makes her way to first base. And now with first and second, we'll see Jackie Powers get an opportunity. Powers playing second base here today, wearing number 1. Another right-hander, as Norwood, I think, has the lone lefty in Helmar. And taking off for second base is Becker. She'll steal second base on that catcher's indifference without a throw. So second and third, good opportunity for Powers, and a big cut from her. She wanted to put that over the left field fence, didn't she?
Yeah, no, I think that the pattern here is big swings, aggressive swings, and that was in line.
Hey, put the ball in play, right? It's no fun if you're just up there trying to draw walks, and Norwood seems to be going along with that plan. Fouls this one a little bit outside of third base. Maybe it was a little bit closer to being fair from our angle. Always kind of tough to get the perspective there, but the umpire right on it. And so now 1-2 count on Jackie Powers. Cashin rocks and fires, and the pitch, an off-speed pitch gets her looking. So Cashin gets out of the inning. Norwood does score 3, but if you're the Mustangs, there was some potential for more. Kudos to Ashland for limiting the damage after Norwood had base runners on for the first 4 batters.
Yeah, and I think they batted around in the first inning. That's always a good thing. See what they come back with, but so far the bats are alive. They're aggressive, and that's really nice to see.
So 3-0 Norwood. We'll take a short break here as we get ready for the top of the second inning coming up in a moment. Back here at Lower Cleveland Field as the Mustangs take the field. Sarah Randall was excellent there, Matt, in the first inning. Struck out the side. And now she'll contend with 4, 5, 6 in the Ashland lineup, starting off with Taylor Koch, the first baseman.
Yeah, and a nice change of speeds there. The first pitch had some gas on it. Slowed it down a bit with the second, but looks like she's got a game plan.
Absolutely. We were a little bit late getting back as Mustang Sally has made an appearance here at the Lower Cleveland field. And this one a ground ball to second base. Powers scoops it up, and the throw to first base goes off the glove of Cordani. And taking second base is Taylor Koch. So Koch will reach on the error and gets to second base. So Ashland, just like that, has a runner in scoring position for Adeline Kazadian.
Yeah, I think, that would have been a close play even if the throw were on target. So good speed there. We'll see what they can do.
First base runner of the game. First ball put in play for Ashland as Kazadian will now kick off back-to-back Kazadians in the Ashland lineup. A good pitch by Randall makes the count go to 0-1. But as we were saying, always nice to see Mustang Sally here, and my wife Kaylee, my daughter Paige are here. Paige is 16 months and loves dogs, so she was very excited to see Sally here. It's a pop-up on the infield, and Lizzie Helmar almost makes the shoestring catch, but they're going to get the runner at third base.
Yeah, that quite an effort there, and a heads-up play to throw over to third.
Absolutely. So Helmar ran in for that. She almost made a great catch, probably the definition of a shoestring catch. Gets a little bit dirty as a result of it, but Ashland sent the runner over to third base, and perhaps not the wisest move as Koch was gunned down there. They had her out at third base by quite a hefty margin.
Yeah, and that too, Joe, that might just be inexperience from the base runner, not having been in that situation before. I think on a play like that, especially when it's an out of force, you want to be pretty careful when runs are hard to come by, but that heads-up play by Norwood to throw over to third base.
Can't fault Ashland and their third base coach, though, for trying to be aggressive, trying to make something happen, as the Norwood defense didn't have to do a whole lot in the first, but now they've already made an error to start off the inning, and that one, although we're going to give a base hit on the play, as Helmar had a tough chance to get there, certainly had to go off her glove. So kind of faking the run there is Adeline Kazadian at first base. And Ruby Kazadian, who is the designated hitter effectively today, will be the batter now. Randall back into her motion and deals, and there's a swinging strike that goes past Ruby. But Adeline will go down to second base with a stolen bag.
Yeah, and, Randall looks real good. I mean, there was some real heat on that pitch.
For sure. And they're going to send the runner back to first base. I'm not sure maybe if she got a piece of it. Maybe she fouled it away. But either way, the Mustangs will take it. Pitch coming. This is up high. And now a good chance. The throw down to second is in plenty of time. Beautiful throw by Cece Indek as she catches the base runner stealing, and Helmar applies the tag to secure the second out.
Yeah, and I have to think, too, Joe, that maybe they knew that was coming. It looked like the pitch was up, giving the catcher time to set up and get that throw off. So
good observation there. Probably as close to a pitch out as you can get. And now a ground ball to third base, and the side is retired. So the Norwood defense that had a bit of an inauspicious start to the inning really settles themselves, and Ashland runs into 2 outs as they go quietly here in the second. No runs, 1 hit, and ultimately nobody left on.
Yeah, and unlike the first inning when there weren't any balls put into play, Ashland came out swinging. They made some contact, got on base, and maybe that unfamiliarity of having runners in scoring position led to an out that maybe being conservative, that runner would have scored eventually. I don't know, but
we could play the what-if games, right? But yeah, no, you're right. Is that may be an unfamiliar territory, but Norwood did a nice job handling it. So.
Yeah, no, and sometimes you make an error on the first play of the inning, and that can kind of set the tone. But Norwood actually kind of went the other way and were aggressive in the field and made some clean plays, and that was nice to see too. Randall kept the pitch count low. That's always good to see, and be interesting to see what they can do at the plate at the bottom of the second inning.
So interesting now to see what Ashland's going to do. I think Coach Matson is out there right now, and he's going to mix up the defense some. So we'll keep a little bit of an eye on this. It looks like we're still going to have Cashin on the mound, and I think he's going to call he had number 4, Lexi Merloni, ready to come into the game. Don't know if she's going to be ultimately coming in, as we're not the beneficiaries of the normal, you're at a baseball game and they'll announce over the PA who's coming in. So we're going to have to play a little bit of mix and match with our eyes here, Matt.
Yeah, it looked like Krinsman maybe made her way over to left field.
All right.
So yeah, we got 1 there.
So Rebecca Krinsman now playing left field, and a Coming over to right field, it looks like, is Taylor Koch. So Taylor had been playing first base. The new first baseman is Ruby Kazadian, so she was the DH, and now we'll get a spot there. And I think, Matt, you had that domino effect going by pointing out the first one. Nice job there.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll get the update in a moment as the sun starts to shine here at Lower Cleveland Field and if there's any other changes. But either way, Sophia Tuma will be the batter for Norwood. Sophia, a senior who has been involved in all the forays at Norwood. Another multi-sport athlete, as we saw her playing volleyball earlier this year. So she and Sarah Randall spending a lot of time as teammates. And just barely gets a piece of that and fouls it away.
Yeah, it looked like a little off-speed. Able to foul it off, which is good. But we got 2 strikes.
Sophia, also somebody I had the pleasure of coaching myself back when she was a freshman, and she was playing volleyball. She was one of our leaders on the freshman team, really developed some good hands for setting, and she kept with that for all 4 years. She grounds it to third base, and a nice play is made there by Adeline Kazadian. She throws it over to Ruby Kazadian, and Sophia is retired 5-3.
Yeah, and again, another off-speed pitch, and a lot of times if you're not ready for that, that's what you end up doing, kind of a weak grounder. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to leg it out, but good contact.
So now we're really going to have to test not only our eyesight, but our, awareness of if there's substitutions, as Norwood is now heading to their second time through the order. And Coach Notabar was telling me before the game that Norwood might be mixing things up a little bit today. Obviously, they had some of their normal starters starting. They had some folks who are usually on the bench getting a chance here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some pinch hitters. But Allison Grenham does get the green light for her second at-bat, as she now sends the count to 1-1.
Yeah, and Grenham in the first inning had a nice hit, got on base, showed some speed.
A little bit of action in the Ashland bullpen as that off-speed pitch fools Grenham a little bit, and the count goes to 1-2. Looks like Nico Eustaris is getting loose in the Ashland pen. And based on what we're seeing, she's got some good velocity in her fastball. Wouldn't be surprised to see her get some action later in the game. Now the pitch coming, and Grenham laces it to shortstop. The play is made there, and the throw to first base is just a little bit out of range. But Grenham had made the turn, and now they've got her in a pickle. The throw back to first, and Grenham slides in safely. Oh, Matt, that was dangerous. They tell you not to make the turn, and I think that fence to the Ashland dugout was just too shallow that she was kind of caught in between.
Yeah, and she had the wherewithal to run back to first base, which is great to see. But yeah, that was a close play. She's still alive. Good.
Absolutely, and the uniform is a little bit dirty as a result. Now Lily Cordani pops it up to shortstop, and making the play there for Ashland is number 3, Quinn Herder, as Herder has slid over to shortstop from her original position in left field. So there's the last piece of the Ashland defense puzzle, and there is the second out of the inning as Cordani pops out harmlessly.
Yeah, definitely moving a little bit faster now.
And Sarah Randall now trying to help herself, skies it to left. And right on the line was the left fielder, Krinsman. She can't quite squeeze it. Randall will settle into second base as she reaches on the error. And coming in to score her second run of the game is Allison Grenham, making it 4-0 Norwood.
Yeah, tough play out there in the field. I think she was going full speed and ball just popped out. But Grenham, had the wherewithal. She knew there's 2 outs, kept running, scored easily, and Randall's into second.
Bit of a hard luck error for Rebecca Krinsman on that one, as she might have been right near the line. I wonder if she just let it go if the ball would have gone foul, but she had her glove on it, and that results in a 2-base error. And just like we saw back in the first, we're going to have Maureen Larkey come in to pinch run for Sarah Randall. So maybe a little bit of the speed-up rule with the pitcher on the mound and 2 outs. So here's Lizzie Helmar. Helmar, the shortstop, made a diving attempt earlier and almost made a fantastic play.
Yeah, in that field, I've played on that field before. It's not quite forgiving.
No, not at all. That's right. You play a little bit of softball, and they've got some games here, I guess, huh? As Helmar laces this into left field, there's a solid single for her and an RBI. So Helmar on first base as she knocks in, I believe, her second run of the game, driving Sarah Randall home, and it's 5-0 Norwood here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, and good base running too. Running on contact, second to home, on a single to left. That's a sign of a good coach team. yeah, aggressive, just like the first inning. So.
For sure. So Pauline Cordani will get her second at-bat of the game. Pauline hit into a very interesting fielder's choice, her first at-bat. They tried to get her at first base, and ultimately she was unable to advance further beyond that. But just like she did in the first at-bat, grounds it to shortstop, and she'll reach on an error this time. As Ashland gets it back to the mound, Helmar wisely goes first to third, and the inning's still alive for the Mustangs as Herder overthrows the first baseman to keep the Mustang offense moving.
Yeah, and I think, maybe with a slower runner, you would have had a play at second. That would have been the easier play.
Right.
But Helmar has speed, and took off as soon as the ball was hit. The shortstop had to go to first base. It's a harder play, and, Norwood is still at bat.
I thought for a second that Herder might think about going to second base, and maybe that was something that was in her mind. As Cordani goes to second, the throw comes all the way through, and Ashland loses sight of the ball, and Helmar, with some nice heads-up base running, will score Norwood's 6th run of the game.
Yeah, I think if that was cleanly fielded, it would have been a close play at second, but heads-up base running on third to score.
So Cordani will come in, and now Cece Indek will see what she can do here. Indek popped out to third base in her first at-bat, so she's officially 0 for 1. Holly Cashin still on the mound here for Ashland. Rocks and fires, and Indek takes upstairs for a ball, 1-1. Cece Becker would be next for Norwood. So back-to-back CCs now here for the Mustangs. Pitch coming, and Indek laces it out to left field, and it is dropped out there by Krinsman. She picks up the ball, but Indek, who was on her horse, is able to go into second base. So it'll be another two-base error, second error of the inning, unfortunately, for Krinsman. Cordani comes around to score. Norwood's got 4 in the inning, 7 runs in the game. And Indek standing on second base with Becker coming up, and Ashland having a bit of a conversation now on the mound.
Yeah, and that's tough, Joe. As a pitcher, you might think in that situation, you've got your third out. Play isn't made. It looks like maybe there's an injury on the plate too.
Yeah, I'm looking from here as Krinsman is having her hand looked at. Tell you, she got the glove on both plays, the one down the line and now on this one. So she was in good position. Didn't look like she had any awkward break on either play. So maybe something might have hit the glove awkwardly. But either way, Ashland, it looks like, will get a new left fielder into the game. And that's going to be Quinn Herder, I think, who was playing shortstop. So they're going to bring Herder into play left field. I think based on the mask coming in, we're going to see Nico Eustaris come into pitch, or at least play a little bit of the infield here, as they will try to get things sorted out.
And I noticed too, Joe, I think on that play, hopefully the injury isn't significant, but she didn't throw the ball into the infield too.
Right.
I think she flipped it to the center fielder. Hopefully that's not because of an injury. Maybe it was just to get the ball in, but let's hope that she is okay.
So Norwood was able to get an ice pack over to the Ashland sideline, so we hope that Rebecca Krinsman is feeling well there, as seemed to be something with her hand. Couldn't quite tell if it was the right or the left hand, but I have to imagine, based on what you were just saying, that she flipped it on over to throw, that it might have been something with her dominant hand on the play. So either way, I think my analysis that Eustaris was coming into pitch was a little bit off, as Cashin will keep the reins here for Coach Matson and the Clockers. Nico Eustaris, who is warming up in the bullpen, will come into play short, forcing Quinn Herder into left field. And the Mustangs now will get Cece Becker up to bat, who hasn't had an official at bat today, as she was hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Becker takes a strike there, a little bit inside, so maybe a little bit gun-shy after I think it might have been even the first pitch of the at-bat to Becker that she got drilled by last time.
Yep, that's right, Joe. So she's seen 2 pitches so far.
And both of them have been on the inner part of the plate, one very much so. This one in the dirt, and Indek was hustling on that one as she creeps over to the third base. So Cece Indek showing some good wheels, able to take second base on that heads-up play after it was dropped out and left. And now after the catcher drops it, she makes her way to third base. And there's a line drive
ball.
down the line that'll fall in for a base hit for Becker. The throw coming to second base is in plenty of time, and Becker is thrown out there. So Becker gets the single and the RBI, but a beautiful throw by Quinn Herder collects the outfield assist, and Ashland gets out of the inning. But not before, Matt. Norwood puts up 5 runs. They are up 8-0 as we head now to the top of the third, and we'll take a little bit of a break to catch our breath before we do so. Welcome back to Lower Cleveland Field. Joe Pinola is here along with Board of Selectmen member Matt Lane. We've got to get that in there.
It's all right. Yeah, thanks, Joe. So that last inning, I think all that damage came with 2 outs, which is really tough. They scored 5 runs that inning after getting the first 2 outs, and Norwood stayed aggressive till the end. I mean, you had a single trying to stretch into a double, and they're setting the tone right now for sure.
Absolutely, and yeah, with 2 outs, I guess that's not going to be a lot of runs charged to Cashin's ledger if we're thinking about that, as Ashland had a couple of errors in the inning, but shows you kind of how close they were to getting out of it almost relatively unscathed. Quinn Herder pops up the second pitch that she sees to the shortstop Lizzie Helmar. Helmar squeezes it for the out, so very quickly 1 away, as Sarah Randall has done a nice job handling the Clocker lineup. Randall has only allowed 2 base runners so far. Taylor Koch reached on an error to lead off the second inning, and Adeline Kazadian hit kind of an awkward pop-up that we're giving her a hit right now, but maybe retroactively, if we don't see any more hits, then that would be changed. But that's wishful thinking, at least for us on Randall's part.
Yeah, and Randall is really keeping the pitch count low. Great to see.
Absolutely. Throwing strikes, which is always what you like to see. And there's another one to Holly Cashin, who is her opponent here on the mound. Abby Rosenfeld, the center fielder, waits on deck. So Randall continuing to throw strikes here, and Rosenfeld also pops it up to shortstop. Busy inning so far for Lizzie Helmar as she gets the first 2 both on pop-outs, and very quickly 2 away for Rosenfeld. Randall has been throwing strikes all day. She struck out 3 batters, 3 in a row to start the game as she struck out the side. Hasn't collected any since then, although her defense has certainly been up to the task.
Yeah, not particularly difficult plays at short, but, sure-handed play, gets you the outs, puts you in a position to go 3 up, 3 down. Always like to see that.
Keep that pitch count low, especially as we keep saying, 8 games in 10 days for Norwood. And a lot of those are conference opponents as they take on Medfield, I believe, tomorrow. I think I actually might have the list of who they're taking on. As we get Medfield coming up, they get Westwood next week, Hopkinton, Medway, and even over the weekend they play an out-of-conference game against North Attleboro. And it is the Lizzie Helmar show, Matt.
Great, 3 up, 3 down. That's what you like to see. Helmar really sure-handed and played a part in all 3 outs in that inning.
So Helmar 6-3 on the play, retires Abby Rosenfeld, and just like that we head to the bottom of the third. So no runs, no hits, nobody left on for Ashland as Randall has faced the minimum still here at Lower Cleveland Field, and now we'll see what the Mustang offense can do as we get Holly Cashin heading back out to the mound, and we'll certainly keep our eye on the Ashland defense. It is looking like Quinn Herder is heading back out to left field, so I imagine Eustaris will be back in there at shortstop, and Krinsman will remain out of the game.
Yeah, let's hope she's okay, Joe. Back to what you were saying about having so many games in such a little amount of time. I mean, really kind of starting it off with a tone setter, which this game seems to maybe be heading towards, is a great thing. I think you get momentum going, you get different people in and out of the lineup, you get people at bats. I think it really bodes well for the slate of games that are coming up.
Absolutely. Norwood has won their last 3, hoping to make it 4 in a row, which I think would be their biggest win streak of the season. They were 10-9 last season in head coach Caitlin Notabart's first year with the team. Carol Savino was the coach before her, who, if you know anything about Norwood softball, was a legend here. She coached for 15 years at Norwood. 61 years as a softball coach.
Wow.
I believe founded the Mass Drifters program, so she's got softball running through her blood, and nice to see Coach N, who was an assistant under Carol for many years, step into the role. I'm sure a lot of her techniques and drills have certainly made their way into modern-day Norwood softball now.
Yeah, and if aggressive play was a staple of Norwood teams of the past, it's certainly today.
Certainly has been. Here is a fly ball out towards left field. Quinn Herter's got it sized up, and she squeezes it for the out. So Jackie Powers gives it a ride, but Herter, showing some good range in left field, retires her for the first out. So here is Sophia Tuma. Sophia grounded out to third base in her first plate appearance to lead off the second. And now with one away, she bats here in the third against Holly Cashin. Pitch coming, and Tuma laces it towards right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Tuma gets a nice hand from the Norwood bench as they get the leadoff runner on, and she is on first base now with one away in the inning.
Yeah, first pitch swinging and put it in play, and nice spot there. Again, a little bit too shallow for the outfielder to go for it, and we got one on, one out.
Norwood kind of doing the hit it where they ain't approach, and Toomer will take off towards second base and get there without a throw. But yeah, that one kind of a little bit too high over the head of the second baseman, Caroline Kyra, and the left fielder, Taylor Koch, was coming in a little bit, and the ball just fell between the two of them. There's some good heat from Cashin, as Allison Grenham, now batting already for the third time in this game, swings right through it.
Yeah, great pitch.
Probably one of the best that we've seen so far. Pitch coming, and this one again swung through and fouled off the catcher's mask, so 2 strikes now on Grenham.
Yeah, that was a good-looking pitch, Joe. She took a little bit off of that, and batter just got a piece of it.
Grenham has been doing a nice job of putting the ball in play. She reached on an error on the third baseman in the first inning, reached on an error by the shortstop in the second inning, and now she gets caught looking for strike 3. Beautiful pitch by Cashin, who collects her second strikeout of the game. Both of them, Matt, have been by looking.
Yeah, I think when you change speeds like that and you can do it well, that's really tough for a batter, and a lot of times they freeze up.
So now Lily Cordani will bat, and she is first pitch swinging, gives it a drive to center field, and just off the glove of Rosenfeld. That one falls in. The long throw comes to second base. Cordani will get in there with a double, her second hit of the game. Tuma scores the run, and Norwood is now up 9-0.
Yeah, that was a well-hit ball. Again, aggressive first pitch swinging, and that's a tough play for an outfielder to make, and she really almost had it.
So Rosenfeld took a good angle to the ball. We're going to give Cordani the double on that. I don't know who made us the official scorers here, but we'll take the title for the time being, as Cordani really gave that a ride. Relatively close to the short fence. I'm not saying the fence is close, but a pretty low height fence. Thought it had a chance of going out.
Great pitch there.
So Randall rebounds nicely Cashin rebounds nicely as she faces off here against her counterpart on the mound, Sarah Randall. Randall reached on a base hit. I shouldn't say reached on a base hit. Had a base hit in her first at bat, and now seeking a second one, flies it out to right. But a nice play is made by Taylor Koch as that retires the side. And Ashland will confirm that is indeed 3 outs. Smoothest inning so far for the Clockers as they surrender 1 run on 2 hits, 1 left on, and through 3, 9-0 Norwood.
Yeah, and I think the pattern that we're seeing, Joe, just like the first, second inning, is aggressive swinging, not waiting for a lot of pitches. First pitch swinging, you make contact, you put it in play, and good things can happen. And that's what Norwood's doing, and it's been an impressive showing so far.
Causing the game to move right along. So we hope you'll stick with us. We'll take a short break, and we will be back with the top of the 4th inning in just a moment as Randall gets set to continue this gem that she's throwing.
My favorite TV show is Community. My favorite pregame ritual is listening to music, and my favorite spring sports memory is the tournament sophomore year.
My favorite movie is Daddy's Home 2. My favorite pregame ritual is to blast music in my car. And my favorite spring sports memory is when Carol sang Happy Birthday to me.
My favorite movie TV show is One Tree Hill. My favorite pregame ritual is probably listening to music, and my favorite spring sport memory is probably the Westwood game last year.
My favorite TV show is The OC. My favorite pregame ritual is sitting in my car. And my favorite spring sport memory is the Dedham game last year.
My favorite TV show is House. My favorite pregame ritual is sitting in my car and really thinking about this win we're going to get. And my favorite spring sports memory is when we beat Hopkinton very recently. Very good game.
My favorite movie/TV show is Outer Banks. My favorite pregame ritual is to get my hair braided. And my favorite spring sport memory is when I got hit by the ball and I threw my glove everywhere.
Welcome back to Norwood Softball here on Norwood Community Media. Joe Pinola, Matt Lane, and Jack Tolman and Isla Wilson helping us out on camera. Always nice to have a current student helping us out, and Isla's doing a great job there. Ashland has the top of their lineup up here as Nico Eustaris will lead things off. She'll be followed by maybe Rebecca Krinsman, who injured herself in the outfield back in the second, and then Caroline Kyra.
Yeah, and this is only the second time through the lineup for Ashland, so really efficient game being thrown by Randall.
Absolutely. Norwood is currently up 9-0 in the game. They got 3 in the first, 5 in the second. But the Ashland defense stepped up a little bit there in the third inning as they limited Norwood to only 1 run. Maybe Holly Cashin starting to settle in a little bit as well. And if that's the sign of some things to come, we should have a fun last couple innings here with some different players getting some opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And she was throwing some heat in that inning. You know, as maybe it was one of those pitchers as the game gets on, her arm gets stronger. I've seen it before.
All right, so Randall will go to work here as the crowd is starting to fill in here a little bit at Norwood. Looks like your son has a prime spot here along the right field line.
He's a good fielder, so if something comes his way, he'll be
there we go. All right, so we got somebody protecting our stand here, I guess, right? We've both got kids with us today, as your son is here, and my daughter Paige was very happy to see the police dog a moment ago, and she is watching, I believe, her first softball game. Eustaris lays down a beautiful bunt, and she's going to beat this without a throw. If there was a question as to whether Kazadian's play earlier counted as a hit, that's definitely going to count as a hit. Beautiful bunt.
I hate to break it, Joe. It was a foul ball.
Oh.
Again, I think we're at a disadvantage because of our angle.
That's true.
It was a beautiful bunt, though. You were not wrong.
And it looks so good. I thought it was right down the line, but that's a solid base hit. We were just a little bit early on it, or I was at least. You were on it, Matt. Beautiful hit there from Nico Eustaris as Ashland collects their second hit of the contest after the infield hit by Kazadian back in the second. And now let's see where Ashland's going to go with this. I think they're going to have number 4 come up to bat. This is Lexi Merloni coming off the bench here, if I'm seeing that correctly. And Merloni gets a rude welcome to the game as she gets drilled in the back of the kneecap.
Yeah, nope. She seems okay. And, yeah, that's quite an introduction to the game, but she seems tough.
On the first pitch, nonetheless. So Merloni will rub some dirt on that one and bring up Caroline Kyra now with nobody out and 2 on here. So a chance for Ashland now to do some damage.
Yeah, this is definitely the position you want to be in if you're Ashland. Randall's aggressive, throwing strikes. Yeah.
And what's more, Ashland has, I believe, the meat of their lineup coming up. So they've got Kyra followed by Koch and Kazadian. So certainly a chance to do some good things. Norwood's got a couple substitutes in the field for them, as it's a little bit easier to see our side of the field here, and we'll try to get all those in a moment as the pitch comes from Randall. She rocks and fires and just misses a little bit outside on that one.
Must have been looked good from here.
Looks like we've got Ava Amato, number 7, who's coming in to replace Jackie Powers at second base. Mariela Abi Elias comes in to play right field for the Mustangs. And the throw coming to third base is not in time, so Ashland now with only first and third, as Maloney didn't advance on the play.
Yeah, really aggressive running, and looks like there's a reason Ustaris is batting leadoff for Ashland. She really got over to third base quickly.
For sure. Looks like Norwood has Colleen Dennehy in there in center field. As this pop-up goes right into short left, it'll fall in for a base hit. The throw comes into Amato at second base, but it's a single and an RBI for Caroline Kyra, and the Clockers are on the board.
Yeah, no, aggressive base running. It puts you in a position where you can score on a single, not a particularly hard hit ball, but again, hit them where they ain't.
And Taylor Koch, first pitch swinging, grounds it to the mound, but Koch does the job on that one. She moves Kyra up to second. She moves Merloni down to third. And now with one away, there's runners on second and third base for Adeline Kazadian, who's already 1 for 1 today.
Yeah, and I think, Randall now with this lead, even though Ashland has scored, focusing on the batter, you can be a little more relaxed, not have to worry about the runners. If it were a tighter game, not so much.
Kazadian takes this outside for a ball. I was saying Dennehy, it looks like, has moved over to center field, so she's going to replace Cece Becker there. And I think that's Kira Walsh. I'm testing my eyesight a little bit, who's come in to play left field. And if so, another player I had the pleasure of coaching in volleyball a number of years ago as a freshman. And Kira, I think, is now getting in as she got some action just a moment ago out there and left.
Great. No, it's good to see the different players getting some playing time, too.
This one had some heat on it as Randall reared back and got a solid strike in there.
Yeah, I think Randall's sticking with the fast stuff. It's a good idea. I'm not sure Ashland can catch up to it.
Pitch coming to Kazadian, and she grounds it to third base, just out of the reach of the third baseman. And Kazadian is on with her second hit of the game. And she's got an RBI as well, as Merloni, who was hit by the pitch, comes around to score. And the Clockers now with first and third and 1 away. They have closed the Norwood lead to 9-2.
Yeah, a hard hit ball. After a real slow start for Ashland, starting to come on a little bit.
So Norwood will want to talk things over a little bit, as we'll see if we're just going to get a little bit of a chat on the mound or somebody else coming in. Looking over, Norwood's got a number of assistant coaches on their roster. I think this is Rich Cordani who's coming out to the mound. But looking through the Norwood roster, obviously Caitlin Nodebart, the head coach. Norwood's got Cece Indek, Heather Gagliard, Chrissy Larea, Leah Stevens, and Rich Cordani on their roster as assistant coaches. So I believe at least one former player in that crew, a couple Norwood High teachers. So that is a formidable coaching staff. I don't think they're all here today, but nice to see that Coach Nodebart has surrounded herself with some good minds. Squirming around a bunt is Kazadian on that one. The throw comes through to second base as Helmar steps up to cut the throw off and potentially prevent the runner from going through to home. So Ruby Kazadian, who has now come into first base, she was the designated hitter to start the game, takes a strike there. And so I don't know what was said during that conference, Matt, but Randall now quickly up 0-2 on the batter.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a little bit of a break. Maybe not even much was said. I think just letting Randall kind of cool off a little bit, focus on the batter.
Pitch coming,
Another
and
good
Kazadian
pitch.
was ahead of that one. Yeah, that was a nice pitch. And I think she fouled it off her right foot as she takes a little bit of an extra moment to walk that off. It's a good off-speed pitch from Randall, who had Kazadian kind of swinging out of her shoes a bit. So Ruby now with runners on second and third and 1 away. Quinn Herter waits on deck for the Clockers. And this pitch misses a little low, not by much, especially based on your reaction too.
Yeah, from here I thought it was a strike. Obviously we got a little bit of a different angle, but she's definitely right in there in the zone.
So Randall now delivers, and this is popped up. This one will go out of play as it sends the Ashland bench running for cover. So normally you look at a softball team, they've got their gloves up ready to go, but Ashland wanted no part of that one. We are hearing some of the sounds of the game behind us as Paige Pinola is certainly enjoying herself. All 16 and a half months, she's enjoying her first softball game along with her stuffed bear.
So Randall tried to go off speed there. A good idea. Didn't quite make it to the glove, but if you're the Ashland hitter, you got to be thrown off a little bit.
For sure. Wonder what's coming next. Let's see if she goes high with a heater. She does, and it's lined out towards left field. That's a great piece of hitting by Kazarian as she comes up with a single and an RBI. Ashland's already got three in the inning, and there's one away now. And Quinn Herder now has a chance with runners on first and third.
Yeah, that was an excellent at-bat and a really solid hit to left. Aggressive, hanging in there.
Maybe Randall getting a little bit tired here as Ashland has put together some solid hits. Running on the play, it looked like a little bit of a hit and run as Herder had squared around, is Kazadian. But Ruby will head into second base, and now Quinn with a big opportunity and 2 ducks on the pond. But Randall makes a great pitch.
Good heat.
Herder swings right through it.
Yeah, I would say stick with the heat and let your defense do their job.
Randall very ready to go as she squares away. Brings the heat again and catches the inside corner. Herder didn't quite agree, but she goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning. So now Holly Cashin will try to help herself. Runners on second and third base as a hit would do wonders to help Ashland out in this contest. She grounds to shortstop. Helmar is there. The throw to first is dropped by Cordani, and that will allow 2 runs to score. Sometimes just putting it in play makes good things happen. It was a good play by Helmar, a good throw at first base, and Cordani, who's normally very sure-handed, just dropped it at first base. And that allows Cashin to reach on the error.
Yeah, that's a tough play, Joe, especially with 2 outs.
And now a bunt coming. Ashland hoping they can keep the small ball alive, and they do. The throw goes wide to first base. Cashin goes all the way to third base. And Abby Rosenfeld is on at first base.
Yeah, really, you said it, a little small ball, but it looks like they've got a game plan, and they're clawing their way back.
So Ashland now has batted around in the inning as Nico Eustaris will come up. Nico started the inning off with a base hit right up the middle. She stole a base, and her good base running allowed her to come around with the first run of what's been a 5-run inning for the Clockers. So Randall will have to rear back now with runners on first and third. Misses inside here. And just like that, Matt, this game that was starting to turn into a lapper as 9-0 in favor of Norwood is now only 9-5.
Yeah, and we had talked about Randall and her pitch count, keeping it low, and really this inning has kind of gone the other way.
Put a quick damper on that one. Now I have to ask you the age-old baseball question. Does it count as batting around unless you get back to the same batter, or if the full 9 bat, does that count?
Yeah, I would say full 9.
All right. So we had the full 9. Either way, we're back around in the top of the lineup, so Ashland has batted around. Either way you look at it. It has been quite an inning for them. Randall had faced the minimum coming into the inning, and all of a sudden, Norwood's got a couple new defensive players in there, but they haven't really even been tested all that much. Not a lot has changed. It's just that the Ashland bats have come alive here.
Yeah, after really kind of not getting anything going the first few innings, they have been aggressive in putting the ball in the right spots.
So let's see if that continues and if Norwood decides to make any changes further as Eustaris grounds us a little bit towards third base. Nice play by the Ashland coach down there.
Keeping him on his toes.
That's it. Now, if we look back at the Clockers and where they've been successful this season, they've got 4 wins on the season. As this one is grounded towards shortstop. Helmar slides to make the play, but it'll be an infield hit. Second hit of the inning for Eustaris. Rosenfeld goes to second base. Cashin comes in to score. Now it's 9-6 Norwood.
Yeah, a well-hit ball. Good play by Herder, but really not much you could do with that. You don't want to risk a throw over to first, especially with the speed.
Helmar does well to keep it in the infield as she gets dirty again. This one gets past the catcher, but it looks like the ball made contact with the bat of, this is Lexi Merloni, who's batting for the second time in the inning. But yeah, Ashland, as we were saying, they've got 4 wins this season. In 3 of those wins, they've put up 15 or more runs. So when the Clocker bats are working, they can certainly deliver. And their bats are certainly working this inning as they've got 6 in. And with 2 outs, this 2-out rally is threatening for more. If you're just joining us, this game was 9-0 Norwood heading into this top of the 4th. And it is taking a turn in the hurry. but Randall delivers and just missed on that one. Looked like a good pitch from our angle.
Looked good. That's some disciplined batting there from Merloni, for sure.
Lexi Merloni was hit by a pitch earlier this inning and now kind of does almost like a cricket inside-out swing. Grounds it towards first base, and that's a foul ball. Merloni did not start this game. She came in for the injured Rebecca Krinsman, who injured her hand, we believe, in the outfield. And now Merloni will have a big opportunity with second and third and 2 outs as that pitch gets by Indek, and Rosenfeld advances to third base, Eustaris up to second.
Yeah, and that pitch wasn't particularly close. Hopefully Randall isn't getting frustrated. I know it's tough with 2 outs to let up all these runs, but hopefully she can dig in.
Here's her pitch.
Great
She's
pitch.
got Merloni
Great pitch.
way out in front, and she strikes her out for the third out, but not before Ashland does their damage in this inning. They got 6 runs on 5 hits. They leave 2 left on. We are through 3.5 here in Norwood, and all of a sudden it's Norwood 9, Ashland 5.
Yeah, we got a game.
So let's see what the Norwood bats are able to do. Norwood's going to have Lizzie Helmar, Pauline Cordani, and Cece Indek coming up to bat this inning. Their bats have been hot, but they were stymied a little bit, only 1 run in the 3rd inning, and all of a sudden you've got a very different tone, and it looks like Matt Ashland is going to switch some things up here.
Yeah, and you can see, too, over on the Norwood side, coach is bringing everyone together, and you got to imagine that they're getting some direction on calming things down, playing the right way, kind of getting back to what they were doing at the beginning of the game, being aggressive, getting on base, swinging at some of those first pitch strikes.
This is why they play the games, right? Norwood won 18-3 in their first meeting, but now with the score 9-6, I think I might have said 9-5 back to start the inning. Ashland is really showing that they've got some life, and that's why the games aren't decided on paper, man.
For sure, yeah. And I think they've got a young team, and as you said earlier, Joe, last year they didn't pick up any wins. This year they got a few. And with this momentum from this last inning, who knows where they end up. But they're definitely, they didn't bury their heads in the sand after those first couple innings, and that's a good sign.
Absolutely. So 9-6 in favor of Norwood. I think I might have been saying 9-5. So 9-6 Norwood as Ashland got 6 there. And now they've got a new pitcher on the mound, Nico Eustaris, who is the starting shortstop for Ashland, has come into pitch. It looks like Lexi Merloni, who would replace the injured Rebecca Krinsman in the game, now comes in to play shortstop. And Eustaris comes away firing. She's got some good heat. And let's see if Ashland's call to the bullpen can stymie this Norwood offense and maybe usher in a bit of a clocker rally here. Lizzie Helmar batting from the left side takes this one up high. Helmar is 2 for 2 today. She's got 2 base hits, singled back in the first, and singled and came around to score back in the second.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of action at short today, too, judging by all the dirt on her uniform.
Absolutely. Lizzie, a great kid. I've got her in my physics class this year. Only a couple more days for the seniors, and I'm sure that Lizzie is very excited. And she will lightly tap this one, running immediately out of the box. She'll force the throw to first base.
Ooh.
And it's a really nice cover there as number 18, Caroline Kyra, was running on the play to cover first base. So Helmar is retired officially 3-4 on the play.
Yeah,
for the
she
first
made it.
out.
She made it a close play, Joe. I think that was kind of a tricky one, just because the ball really was on the line, and so she kind of had to swing her hips a little bit to get over to first without interference. It still made it a close play, though.
As Eustaris, I think, just misses on that one. But, yeah, sometimes you can't take that for granted that the player is going to be over to cover first base. I am certainly not a Yankee fan, but if you're a Yankee fan, you remember Garrett Cole doing that in the MLB playoffs. And look at this. Caroline Kyra has been the star of the show defensively for Ashland as she gloves that one. And quickly 2 away as Cece Indek now comes up to bat.
Yeah, and if you're the Ashland coach, this is what you wanted. You score a lot of runs last inning, 2 up, 2 down.
So Indek now stands in and takes a big swing and skies it foul. Indek has put the ball in play both times. She popped out to third base in her first at-bat and then hit a line drive down the line in the second inning, actually towards the gap, that was misplayed by the Ashland left fielder. Indek was running out of the box, ended up on second base, and ultimately came around to score Norwood's 8th run of the game. So,
yeah, and a great pitch there.
as Eustaris gets it over. But Indek has been exceptional for Norwood, getting the start off the bench. Wouldn't be surprised to see her get more starts at catcher. I know a lot of baseball teams will opt not to start their catchers on back-to-back games, and with Norwood playing a number of games in a row, I think Indek is going to be really pressed into action, and she's shown a propensity to be ready here, at least early on.
Yep.
Eustaris' pitch is
Good
up
eye.
high. Yep. Good eye there from Indek. Cece Becker would have been the on-deck batter for Norwood, although I'm not sure who's batting in her slot, as she was taken out of the game for a defensive substitution. And now Indek skies it towards no man's land once again, and that drops in for a base hit, her first of the contest.
Yeah, good piece of hitting there by Indek, and she's on base for the 3rd time.
Nice job as Cece connects with that one and hits it kind of where they ain't. So here comes Colleen Dennehy. Colleen, one of 3 senior captains on this Norwood roster. She came in to play some center field, replacing Cece Becker, and now she replaces Cece in the lineup here, getting her first opportunity. Becker was 1 for 1 officially in our book. She may get a chance later in the game. Becker was hit by a pitch and singled in the 2nd inning. And now Dennehy, who I imagine will be followed by Ava Amato and then Mariela Abi Elias, as this part of the order has kind of been shifted out by Coach Nodebart. First pitch coming, and Dennehy is first pitch swinging.
Yeah.
Right on it, fouls it back to the screen.
Yeah, and Joe, I've been impressed by Eustaris on the mound. She's only a freshman, but really, she's pitching in an aggressive way.
Yeah, 2 freshman pitchers for Ashland so far, as Dennehy fouls this one away again. Officially for Holly Cashin, she did give up 9 runs through 3 innings, but I think her defense at points maybe let her down a bit, so maybe the line looks a little bit more inflated than it otherwise might be.
Yeah, I'm not sure all those were earned.
That's true. But Eustaris has done a nice job out of the pen.
Solid hit.
Induces a ground ball, but it goes right up through the middle, and Dennehy is on with a base hit. So Norwood, who had a big 2-out rally, as you pointed out back in the 2nd inning, has 2 outs again, with Indek on second, Dennehy on first base, and now a left-handed batter, Ava Amato, steps in to bat for Jackie Powers.
Yeah, there's some great 2-strike hitting there by Dennehy. Nice solid hit right up the middle. Looks like the coach is giving a little instruction there.
And I think we're seeing some action there in the Norwood bullpen. Can't quite see who that is from our angle, but I think there's a chance we may not see Randall come back out to pitch in the top of the 5th. Either way, this one gets away from the Ashland catcher, and Amato now has a big chance with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Eustaris rocks and fires, and Amato grounds it to second base. Kyra is there, and she makes the play to first base. It's the Caroline Kyra show for Ashland as she makes all 3 putouts in the field. Norwood has 2 hits, but they strand both runners, and Ashland throws up their first 0 of the contest in the bottom of the 4th. It's still 9-6 Norwood.
Yeah, if you're the Ashland coach, you have to be real happy with that inning. Score a bunch of runs, and you don't give up any. You're right back in the game.
So we'll stay tuned with us as we'll see what Norwood decides to do. We saw some action in the bullpen. They may shuffle things up. We'll take a little break as the coaches get their defensive alignment ready to go, and we'll be back with the top of the 5th in just a moment. It is Norwood 9, Ashland 6 here on NCM. All right, welcome back, folks, to Lower Cleveland Field as Norwood's got a bit of a pitching change here. Sarah Randall did a really nice job on the mound. She gave up 6 runs through 4, was cruising along through the first 3, in fact, faced the minimum. But the book on her will officially close, at least for today, and Pauline Cordani will step in and try her hand on the mound here. And she's got a little bit of a good softball legacy. Jack Tolman was able to fill us in a moment ago. Her father, Rich Cordani, who is a Norwood assistant coach, was on the Holliston State Championship baseball team, and he won a national championship in college with the LSU Tigers in 1991. So Rich certainly has some good baseball bloodlines, and that's got to certainly bode well for Pauline here on the mound.
Yeah, that's great. Great that he's can be involved in this way and bring his expertise to the team, and that's really impressive.
A couple other substitutions it looks like for the Norwood team, as we will try to get the official word on those. It looks like, I believe, Colleen Dennehy has slid over to right field. Norwood's got number 34, Maddie McKee, now playing first base. Ava Amato stays in at second. Lizzie Helmar stays in at third. And from there, we test our eyesight, Matt. I think that's Kira Walsh still out in left field for Norwood. And is that Cece Indek that might be in center? Which would mean maybe we have Liliana Cordani catching her sister, which might make a bit of sense.
Sure. Let's go with that.
We'll call it that for right now. Not quite sure what the delay is, as Ashland will get ready to go. It's the heart of the Ashland lineup coming up. Caroline Kyra, who has been a star defensively for them, in fact had all 3 putouts in the bottom of the 4th, will be the leadoff batter. She'll be followed by Taylor Koch and then Adeline Kazadian. So between the 3 of them, they have been on base 4 times already out of 6 chances. So Cordani certainly will have her hands full.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the delay is either, Joe.
In the meantime, Cordani will take a couple steps around the mound. Pauline has been a member of this softball team, I believe, since her freshman year on the varsity level. In fact, if you go back in the archives at NCM, I believe I covered a game where Pauline was on the mound, and I believe through a complete game when she was just a freshman here. So nice to see her now as a senior and 2-year captain getting a chance to come back out here.
That's great. Yeah, now we've got a little bit of a conference going on.
Yeah. So, maybe Rob Manford's speed-up rule hasn't quite made it to high school softball yet as they get things sorted out. I think maybe the umpire kind of tracking through a lot of the changes, as Norwood threw a lot of changes in there in the top of the 4th. I don't think anything that really affected things, as we didn't see the ball get hit out that way very much. And now they've got even more changes on top of that, with McKee coming over with a bit of a catcher switch heading up the top of the 5th here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, Joe, with a lot of games on the slate in these upcoming days, not surprising that the coach is going to go with a couple different lineups, get people some innings. So
for sure.
I'm sure that's what this is about.
And yeah, Coach Nodebart is coming over to talk things over with the Ashland coaches. A couple other sports teams for Norwood are in action today. It is senior night for Norwood girls lacrosse. We had the pleasure of covering a game for them not all that long ago. Mike Lodge, who is in his first season not coaching the team, was excellent on commentary, and it was nice to have him aboard for that. That team won a dogfight, as Mike predicted, against Medway just the other day. So
great
I think
to hear.
Norwood lacrosse is on their way to be back in the MIAA playoffs, barring anything catastrophic. So we look forward to seeing more of them.
Great. Looks like we're getting back into the action,
Here we
Joe.
go, yeah.
All that lineups card stuff was straightened out.
So Caroline Kyra now will lead things off. Kyra is officially 1 for 2 today. She was caught looking back in the first inning and struck out, but she singled and came around to score back in the big run 4th for the Clockers, in which they plated 6 ultimately in the inning. So 3, 4, and 5 in the Clocker lineup to face the new pitcher for Norwood, Pauline Cordani. Wearing number 3, she was, I believe, playing first base for most of this game, and now getting her chance on the mound. Good pitch coming, that's a little bit inside. And I've got to expect, Matt, I guess if you're, maybe I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, if you're Coach Nodebart, you win 18-3 in your first game against Ashland. You try to kind of break things up, give another player an opportunity, but Ashland's bats maybe have forced Caitlin's hand and are forcing her top pitcher into the game.
Yeah, I think getting experience for younger players is a great thing, but when it comes down to it, you still got to win the game. Mm-hmm. Going back to maybe some your more veteran players, not an uncommon move. Let's hope it pays off for them.
Well, kudos to Ashland for kind of putting Norwood in this spot. Now kind of the plans go out the window, and you have a new game that can be decided with just a couple swings of the bat. And Ashland also shoring things up defensively. They had their first inning that they didn't give up any runs in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, solid field play for sure.
Kyra laces this one out towards right center, and that'll fall in for a base hit. Dennehy gets it in quickly, and on with her second hit of the game is Caroline Kyra. So she is 2 for 3. And now Taylor Koch with a runner on here will try to see if she can help Ashland develop another rally.
Yeah, a really solid hit. Matches well with her solid play in the field from last inning.
So Kyra has been excellent, and Koch has been good as well as she gets hit by the pitch. So Koch is on base for the second time today. She reached on an error back in the second, and now she gets hit by a pitch here in the fifth. Two on now for Ashland with Kyra on second and Koch on first. And here comes Adeline Kazadian. Kazadian has put the ball in play twice, and she's got 2 singles to show for it.
Yep, her last at bat, really good one, aggressive hitting.
Gordani throws it and misses high. Kazadian's first hit was a bit of an awkward pop-up on the infield that Lizzie Helmar, almost made a fantastic play on. And her second hit was a line drive shot on the ground. Actually, that's kind of an oxymoron. A hard hit ground ball to third base that was just out of the reach there of the Norwood third baseman Allison Grenham.
Yeah, and I think she got fooled a little bit there. Wasn't quite sure to swing or not. Ended up a little check swing foul ball there, so evening up the count at 1-1.
So Cordani here rocks and fires. And just misses on that one. Looked pretty good from our angle there.
Looks good here, too. So she's got to dig down now. 2 on, no out. You're behind in the count.
I think Norwood has another substitution in there as I'm taking a look over towards third base after talking about Grenham a moment ago. I think that's Mo Larkey that has come into play third. Or at least wearing, I think, number 31 we're seeing down there. So Norwood with a very new-look infield with McKee at first, Amato at second, and Larkey at third. Helmar remains in the game at shortstop. Not a surprise to see her anchoring that crew. But Kazadian lifts it out towards left field. That'll get down for her third hit of the game. And Ashland, not taking any chances with nobody out, will hold Kyra there. And here is a huge chance now for Ruby Kazadian. Nobody out, and the base is clock full of Ashland Clockers.
Yeah, good 2-strike hitting there. Loading the bases, no outs is the position you definitely want to be in. If you're Ashland, you're right back in this ball game with a hit.
So Cordani finds herself in trouble in her first inning of the game and now misses high 1-0 on the Clocker first baseman. Quinn Herder waits on deck, but in the meantime, Ruby Kazadian, who is 1 for 2 and had a solid single back in that 6-run Ashland fourth, will line this one to third base. And that is as fortunate as you're going to be for Norwood. Kazadian hit it on the screws, but right at Mo Larkey, who steps on the bag as the runner Kyra was off on contact. And that is a hard luck double play for the Clockers.
Yeah, and as a base runner, that's a really tough one. You see that often. It's you don't even have a big lead, but if it's rocketed over to third and you've got a good third baseman that can make a heads-up play like that, oftentimes you get doubled up.
And Matt, this game this inning at least, has a whole new look to it. Ashland had bases loaded, nobody out. Kazadian hit a rocket towards third base and just unfortunately right at the opposing player. And now Helmar to first base will retire the side. So
wow,
Cordani gets some help by her fielder being in the right spot. If you're Ashland, I guess you throw your hands up and you say that, sometimes things work out and sometimes you hit them where they are, as the Clockers will come away with 2 hits but no runs, and the game remains 9-6 Norwood.
Yeah, great composure there too from Norwood. With 2 outs and a routine ball, sometimes the nerves kick in. Not there.
So Coach Nodebard, I guess, pushed the right buttons there as she had Mo Larkey come in to play third base. She was a defensive substitution for Allison Grenham, and Mo made the heads-up play not only to catch it but to tag third base.
Yeah, no hesitation there. That's a real smart baseball play, and I believe she's a freshman as well.
Absolutely. So a lot of younger players getting an opportunity. We know the Larkey family has some excellent athletes amongst them, and Mo is certainly not the first or the last of the bunch.
Yeah, and as a pitcher too, Joe, you got to appreciate when that happens.
For sure.
You're in a jam, and you can get 2 like that. It's great.
So going back to work here is Nico Eustaris on the mound for Ashland. She's now in her second inning of work. came out firing in the fourth and got back-to-back groundouts, then surrendered back-to-back hits to Indek and Dennehy, but she got Amato to ground out, and now she will contend with, we'll kind of have to do a little bit of investigative work. This is Sophia Tuma's spot originally in the lineup.
I think it's Kyra Walsh.
Yeah, so Kira Walsh I think will be coming in, and Matt, I think that looks just about right. So Walsh came into play left field as Norwood had shuffled their batters around a little bit, and Walsh wearing number 15 does indeed look like the batter who's up here. So Kira Walsh, officially the pinch hitter for the Mustangs, will lead things off against Nico Eustaris. Good
Nice
first pitch from Eustaris as she gets it right over 1-0. If you're just joining us, this game was 9-0 Norwood. Ashland roared back with a 6-run inning in the fourth. And look at this. Caroline Kyra continues to be busy
I think she's
as
made the
Walsh
last
pops
4
out
outs.
to her.
Yeah. It's always nice to have a sure-handed infielder like that, and one that produces at the plate too.
Absolutely. So now we go back to the top of the Norwood lineup, and it will not be Allison Grenham. Instead, it will be Mo Larkey wearing number 31. Larkey made a beautiful play a moment ago.
Great pitch.
And she
Great
takes a
off-speed
beautiful off-speed pitch from Eustaris. Very quickly 0-1 on her, just as it was on Walsh a moment ago. Larkey was a pinch runner a couple times this game as she skies this one out towards the left field line. And look at that range from Quinn Herter.
Yeah, that was a foul ball. She didn't slow down and was able to make the play. And yeah, you have to give kudos to the Ashland fielders. I mean, they've really been solid last few innings.
Well, Lexi Merloni took a good route to the ball from her shortstop position, but it was a long run for her. Herter showing off some excellent speed as she was able to close the gap and make a great play out there for the second out. So Ashland has really shored up their game lately, and now they will look to retire Lily Cordani, Norwood's catcher who started the game in left field, to see if they can put up their second inning with no runs. And Cordani gets drilled here. She almost threw her hand in the way, but I think ultimately got her in the knee. Painful either way, Matt, as Norwood has their second hit batsman of the game, and they've got a runner on with 2 away.
Yeah, and it definitely was not an off-speed pitch there too, Joe, so that one's got to hurt a little bit.
So now this is Sarah Randall's spot, but Maddie McKee will bat for her. So McKee playing first base, and first pitch swinging, lines it past the third baseman, and she's on board with a hit.
Great hit, aggressive. You've got 2 on now with 2 outs. This is the pattern that they had followed earlier in the game, Joe, a lot of first pitch swinging. Maybe that's what they need to kind of kickstart, get back to getting some runs on the board.
So McKee now with a 2-out single, puts runners on first and second, and here comes Lizzie Helmar. Helmar is 2 out of 3 today. She singled back in the first, singled and scored in the second, and grounded out to the first baseman back in the fourth. But now the senior captain with a big opportunity here to give Norwood some breathing room. We thought Norwood had breathing room. In fact, they had 9 runs of it heading into the fourth. But Ashland has closed the gap in the hurry and narrowed that lead down to 3.
Yeah, great stop there, too, by the catcher.
Yeah, really nice work there. That's Ella Dickinson, I believe, who is still doing the catching for Ashland. Ella is not batting in the lineup, but her defensive presence has been really important for them, as Helmar wastes this one foul. And as you mentioned, Matt, with that block now, you're obviously keeping runners at first and second as opposed to second and third. You don't want to have 2 runners in scoring position for arguably Norwood's best hitter.
For sure, yeah, and sometimes that's all it takes is you get that first runner on third for the inning, and that turns into a couple runs for the team. So, really impressive stop. And Ashland's defense, Joe, has been really good the last few innings.
Yeah, their outfielders have shown some great speed, as we saw moments ago there from Herter out in left. Although, straining my eyes to see if that has changed at all. Apologies if we misattributed that. And this one almost gets past Dickinson. The runner at first base, McKee, did not run, but advancing to third base with an aggressive play is Cordani. They always say you never want to make the first or third out at third base, but Cordani gets in there without a throw, and now she's only 60 feet away here with Helmar trying to drive her home. One strike away for getting out of the inning is Eustaris, but this one pops away from the catcher. Cordani continues her aggressive base running, and she will score Norwood's 10th run of the contest. And scooting down to second base is McKee, keeping a runner in scoring position for the Mustangs as Helmar reaches on the first walk of the contest.
Wow, that's the first walk, huh, Joe?
Unbelievable. We have been treated to strikes, which certainly is something you always like to see.
There's another
Taking
one.
all the way is Pauline Cordani. Not a surprise. Batter in front of you walks. Take the first pitch, and Cordani seemed to be doing just that here. Cordani now skies it out towards right field. Lining it up and making the catch is Taylor Koch.
Yeah, nice
as
play
she
by
squeezes
Koch.
it for the third out.
Yep. Kept her cool, got under it. Nice play.
So Norwood does get one run, and they now lead 10-6. That one run came on one hit. We had a hit batsman, we had a walk, we had a lot of things happening. But now we head to the top of the sixth inning with Norwood up 10-6, and we'll take a little bit of a break here as the Mustang defense heads on out to try to protect this four-run lead. Join us on the other side in a moment. Welcome back, folks, to Norwood High School softball action here on Norwood Community Media. Joe Pinola along with Matt Lane and Isla Wilson and Jack Tolman helping us out with the camera work and the technology that I certainly don't want to touch.
Yeah, we've got a game, Joe. I think if you're tuning in, it was 9-0 Norwood early on. Ashland kind of hunkered down and started getting hits, putting the ball in play like they do here.
And a solid hit ground ball to third base, but Mo Larkey has been really good at third base since coming in for Allison Grenham, I think around the fourth inning. And she gloves it there to get the first batter of the inning, Holly Cashin, on the ground out. So Cashin, who had started this game and pitched the first 3 innings for Ashland, grounds out, and that will bring up Abby Rosenfeld. Rosenfeld is officially 0 for 2 today. She grounded out to shortstop, and she also reached on an error back in the fourth inning.
A nice off-speed pitch there.
She is thrown a little bit off her balance there by Cordani. Pauline Cordani in her second inning of action for the Mustangs. She navigated around a little bit of trouble back in the fifth inning as there was a lot of traffic on the base paths. In fact, the bases were loaded at one point for the Clockers, but Cordani kind of bared down a little bit there and showed some good leadership getting out of the inning.
Yeah, great composure.
Here's the pitch now. Rosenfeld grounds it to third base, and Larkey has been a vacuum over there at third. She makes the throw to first base, and there's 2 away.
Yep, really efficient pitching. Great fielding over at third base by Larkey. Definitely, if you're Coach Nodebart, that's what you want to see. You want to get back at the plate as soon as you can.
So here is Nico Eustaris now with 2 away in the sixth, trying to spark a little bit of a rally for Ashland. Eustaris looks at the first pitch.
Great pitch.
Yeah, really. Cordani coming right over with that. And not a surprise, Matt, to see Eustaris not wanting to swing at that one after the first 2 batters were so aggressive. Pitch coming. Nico grounds this one. Oh, I thought it was going to be another ground ball to Larkey over there at third.
Yeah, very quickly 0-2. Low pitch count this inning. That's what we want to see. Really impressive.
Now Cordani trying to put him away. 0-2 here on the Ashland leadoff hitter. Here's the pitch. Just misses. Might have looked good at least for a moment, but again, hard to tell from our angle.
We'll give the benefit of the doubt to the umpire.
We know the umpires always have a tough job, and they do their best here, and they've done a nice job today, especially dealing with a lot of changes on either sides. So here comes the 1-2 to Eustaris. She swings and spoils it. Foul? Yes, it does go foul, just into the Ashland dugout there. I thought Lily Cordani, Norwood's catcher, might have had a chance on that for a moment. So we'll do it again here at 1-2. Lexi Merloni, who replaced the injured Rebecca Krinsman, would be next. So Cordani with more and more fans out here. Deals, and again,
spoils
foul
another one.
Back to the screen. Eustaris not going quietly. She is 2 for 3 today. She struck out looking back in the first to lead off the game for Ashland, but she singled twice in the fourth inning.
Yeah,
and now she's up here in the sixth.
And again, Joe, as a freshman, it's really impressive.
Here's the pitch to her, and once again, she will not go quietly. Third foul in a row, and Eustaris continues to stay alive.
Yeah, you spoil him like that, that can be frustrating for the pitcher. Cordani, that's a nice off-speed pitch.
She gets the sign from her sister, the catcher, and deals. Just misses, and some of the Norwood outfielders said it looked good to them. I think it looked good to me, too, from here. But, again, we don't have the best angle, and now the count at 2-2.
That's a really great at-bat.
Here comes the 2-2. And again, a pop-up. But this one is
like
playable. McKee is under it, and she gloves it for the out, and Norwood survives.
Yeah, great inning, Joe. No base runners, no hits. It's what you want to see towards the end of the game when you don't have a lead that's all too comfortable.
Absolutely. So the Mustangs do a really nice job there as they retire the side in order. Credit to Pauline Cordani for coming in there. And I think I said that thinking the game was over, but certainly we are continuing to go here. I saw the 6th inning, but we are getting ready to play 7. No time limit at all here. This game is continuing on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice night, good crowd. Happy to be here. So we got a good game.
Perfect day to play some softball, and we're glad we're able to get you out to join us here on commentary. Always nice to have the good folks at NCM getting us live, getting the action out to you wherever you're watching us. If you're watching us from Ashland, you can check out this game on replay as well on the Norwood Community Media website. They usually get the games up fairly quickly. We've got a great staff on our NCM team and producers who usually have some pretty quick turnaround times to allow folks to be able to catch the action if they miss it live.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing and such a great resource for the community. And like you said, Joe, if you're a parent on the opposing team and maybe you couldn't get here to see the game, it's a great way to catch it. So I think everyone in town knows how great NCM is, but I think we got a lot of fans outside of town too.
Absolutely. I know on the select board that you have worked with NCM quite a bit as well, and nice to see a little bit of a different view for you here.
Yeah, this is a little more fun, I think.
I certainly can't disagree with you. At Norwood High School, things are cruising along as the seniors head towards the end of their year. Prom is on Friday, so Norwood Softball, I guess, will have a pretty quick turnaround with the game, an out-of-conference game. At least it's at home against North Attleboro on that Saturday.
Oh, wow.
As the Mustangs are in the midst of 8 games in 10 days, thanks to the wacky, rainy weather that we've been having here in New England.
Good eye.
Certainly nothing new, I guess, right?
No, it's a great opportunity to get a lot of play in, so hopefully we can come out with a victory today and keep the streak going.
There's a ground ball back to the mound off the bat of Cece Indek, and she is retired for the 2nd time today. So Indek officially 1 for 4. She did have a single back in the 4th. So here now is one of Norwood's defensive replacements, Colleen Dennehy.
Yeah, and Denny, she had a great hit her first at bat and does it again with her second at bat. And I believe she's only seen 2 pitches this whole game and put it in play both times.
That's right. She is aggressively swinging up there, and she gets on base, as Matt said, for the 2nd time with her 2nd hit of the game. So Norwood with a base runner on and 1 away, and that brings up Ava Amato. Amato's someone, I believe, who also has been on this Norwood roster since her freshman year. Although she did not start today, she came in as a defensive replacement back in, I believe, the 4th inning. Norwood did have Jackie Powers get the start at second base. Ava, I believe, is officially 0 for 1. She grounded out to second base back in the 4th inning.
Yeah, and Joe, with this lineup, what's been impressive to me is just with all of these substitutions, really there hasn't been a drop in play.
Right.
Neither not in the field or at the plate, and that shows me that Norwood's got a deep team, and that always bodes well, especially come tournament time.
Absolutely. You want to get a lot of those players tournament experience, and I guess the future is bright for Coach Nodabar and her very deep coaching staff as well. Pitch coming to Amato is a called strike 3. Beautiful pitch from Eustaris, and that's the 2nd out of the inning for Ashland, who at this point, hey, in this inning you're trying to keep it close, give your offense a chance. 4 runs is not unheard of if they can get out of this without giving up anything here. Now the batter for Norwood is Kira Walsh, and she pops it to second base, first pitch swinging, and Ashland gives himself a chance here as we head to the top of the 7th.
Yeah, you've got to be pleased if you're Ashland with that inning. As you said, Joe, you put yourself in a position now where you score some runs, anything can happen. But really, the team has impressed me because the game started out not the way that I'm sure they had hoped. You're down 9-0. A lot of times you put your head in the sand, or maybe you're out of the game mentally. But really, Ashland has not done that.
No. So let's see what happens here now as we get ready for the next inning. We'll take a little bit of a break here, a chance to kind of catch our breath as we get ready for the top of the 7th. But it should be an exciting finish with 2, 3, and 4 in the Ashland lineup getting ready to face Pauline Cordani, and Norwood hanging on to a 10-6 lead. We'll be back in just a moment. Very quick in between innings there, Matt Lane. We almost got caught napping. Away we go here in the top of the 7th. Pauline Cordani right back at it for Norwood. And I think we're getting a pinch hitter up here for Ashland. Or maybe I hadn't marked that correctly. I think this looks like number 19 for them. That would be Katie Limburner Jensen, who is a senior and one of the captains on this Ashland team, as this was the spot originally occupied by Rebecca Krinsman. She came out of the game with a hand injury, I believe, around the 3rd inning. And now Limburner Jensen, getting a chance to pinch hit.
Yeah, it shows a good eye right there, too.
Lexi Merloni had gotten 2 at-bats in the 4th inning. She was hit by a pitch and struck out. Krinsman had also struck out, so this spot hasn't been super successful for Ashland, and Norwood continues to keep it that way as Limburner Jensen grounds out to the shortstop Lizzie Helmar, 1 away here in the 7th.
Yeah, Helmar has played a really great game in the field. Just very smooth, confident, solid throws over to first. That's what you want out of your shortstop. She played great.
Helmar is someone who learned under Norwood's former coach, Carol Savino, and not a surprise to see a Carol player with such really good fundamentals. Helmar was a second baseman for her for a while, shifted over to shortstop, and Norwood has produced some really good shortstop in their history, including Sam Rose, who's off playing in college now.
Oh, wow, that's great to hear. Yeah, Helmar's really impressive in the field. Really confident player.
So now the batter is Caroline Kyra. Caroline is 2 out of 3 today. She struck out looking back in the 1st, but singled in the 4th and singled in the 5th. And she looks to get on base here to spark a clocker rally.
Great pitch.
Beautiful pitch there from Cordani. As Pauline, again, we mentioned that. She's now in her 3rd inning of work, or maybe her 3rd. Had a little bit of traffic as she started off, but she has settled down and she has looked really good lately.
Yeah, another great off-speed pitch. Batter just got a piece of it, but you're in a great position as a pitcher here with the count.
And Kyra now ahead, very big, 0-2. Although I guess anytime I say the count, Matt, I'm looking around for the scoreboard here. We got to get one here at the lower Cleveland field.
I
now
agree.
The pitch coming. Ground ball towards third base. Mo Larkey is there and makes the play at first base. Larkey has been one of the game's defensive standouts for the Mustangs as she's played an excellent third base. And now the Clockers are down to potentially their last batter in the person of Taylor Koch.
Yeah, great stretch there, too, by McKee.
Taylor getting some nice cheers from the fans here. Ashland has had a number of fans come out here, and they've been quite supportive today. And Taylor is way ahead of that one. I think maybe expecting a little bit more heat from Cordani. And she grounds it just foul outside of third, 0-1.
I think, Joe, too, with the lack of a scoreboard, maybe some of these parents have appreciated sitting near the game call.
Absolutely. That's the trade-off for them having to listen to us for 7 innings, isn't it? So Koch trying to keep this game going. Adeline Kazadian, who's got 3 hits today, would be next. So Norwood hoping they can end the game right here. This one just misses low. A good pitcher's pitch from Cordani, but she doesn't get the call from the home plate umpire.
Yeah, nope. And, if you're Ashland here, you're kind of hoping for a little bit of a miracle. So getting some of those calls is definitely advantageous.
Ashland has been shut out in 5 of the 6 innings so far. And now Lizzie Helmar tries to end it, makes the throw to first base, and that will retire the side. So Norwood goes out to a 9-0 lead. They give up 6 runs in the 4th, but they get a nice insurance run in the bottom of the 6th, and they close out a 10-6 win over their division rival, the Ashland Clockers.
Yeah, Joe, great game. Wasn't sure with the way that it started that it was going to be much of a game. It turned out to be. And I think what impressed me the most was that Norwood never really lost its cool, especially in the field. They were sure-handed. Ashland started to hit the ball, and they were solid hits. It wasn't so much that Norwood made any errors or any mental mistakes. Ashland, to their credit, clawed back, made it a game, but Norwood was really impressive in the way that they just stuck through, and the pitching change turned out to be a good one.
Absolutely. So Norwood does hang on. Credit, as Matt said, to an Ashland team that came into this game with a 4-11 record. They were ranked 43 in D3, but you've got to imagine a pretty good performance against a solid Norwood team is going to boost them a little bit.
Yeah, and Joe, you had said they've got 8 games in 10 days, so mixing the lineup up a little bit, getting some players some experience, was really helpful, and they pulled out the win, and it was a great game.
So Norwood gets some good pitching from Sarah Randall to start off the contest. Pauline Cordani gets the 3-inning save for the Mustangs. They got some time-lady hitting and some good defense, especially off the bench, and they now go to 8-5 on the season. We've certainly got a lot of other sports coming up for you on NCM in the coming weeks, but playoffs, Matt, just around the corner. Things are getting exciting. It's a great time of the year.
Yeah, no, it was fun to be here, fun to be with you, Joe, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Congrats to Coach Nodebart and her team on the win, and we will see you at a sporting event soon. Thanks to Isla Wilson for her wonderful camera work today, or right behind the camera, and Jack Tolman for helping out as well on a beautiful day. The final score here from the Lower Cleveland field, Norwood 10, Ashland 6. For Matt Lane, I'm Joe Pinola. Have a wonderful afternoon, folks.
Have a good night.